Growing up, I didn't realize I was being treated differently, not in an obvious way, not in a way anyone could easily point out, but in small moments, subtle shifts, the kind of things you only understand later. My younger sister, Brianna, was always the center of attention, not because she demanded it, but because everything about her seemed to attract it. Confident, expressive, effortless. And my parents loved that, encouraged it, built their expectations around it, and I was something else. I didn't react when they handed me the gift bag. I didn't question it, didn't smile too much, didn't hesitate either, because something about that moment felt wrong, not obvious, not loud, but familiar, like something I had experienced before, just in a different form. My sister was watching me, closely, too closely, like she wasn't interested in the gift. She was interested in my reaction, and my parents, they were smiling, but not warmly, not proudly. It was the kind of smile people give when they're expecting something, or waiting for something to go wrong. I held the bag in my hands. It felt light, too light, and that's when I knew. This wasn't a gift. It was a setup, and everyone in that room was part of it. Still, I opened it, and just like I expected, it looked meaningless. My sister laughed. "Honestly," she said, "that suits you." Some people smiled awkwardly, others looked away. No one said anything, and I didn't react, because something else felt wrong. I reached deeper into the bag, and that's when I found it. Something that wasn't supposed to be there. And just like that, the entire room went silent. My name is Alyssa Carter. I'm 31 years old, and this happened last spring in San Diego, California. Before we continue, if you enjoy stories where quiet moments turn into powerful endings, make sure you're subscribed and tell me in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is right now. I read every single comment. Now let me take you back, because this didn't start with that night. At first, it was small. Why can't you be more like Brianna? She knows how to present herself. She's naturally good with people. They didn't say I wasn't enough. But they didn't have to. Because comparison does that quietly. It creates a gap, without ever saying it directly. Over time, I became something specific in their eyes. Not the successful one, not the favorite, just the one who existed, the one who didn't cause trouble, didn't stand out. And eventually, I stopped expecting it. Every gathering followed the same pattern. Brianna would talk, laugh, tell stories, and my parents would light up, encourage her, support her, and I would sit there, listening, smiling when needed, speaking when asked, but never being the focus. At 23, I moved out. Not because of a fight, not because of something dramatic, just because I realized something simple. If I stayed there, I would always be that version of myself. And I didn't want that anymore. I didn't announce my plans, didn't explain myself. I just started working. Long hours, multiple jobs, saving everything I could. And slowly, I built something. Not flashy, not visible, but real. As I built my life, the distance between us grew, not emotionally explosive, just quiet. Less calls, fewer visits, shorter conversations, because there wasn't much to say. Over time, things changed. My work paid off. Opportunities came. Investments grew. And for the first time, I felt stable, independent, in control. But my family didn't see that, because I never told them. Then one day, my mother called. "We're having a family dinner. It's important. Everyone will be there." Her tone felt different, more intentional, more prepared, and something about it made me pause. I almost didn't go, but something inside me said, go. Not to reconnect, not to fix anything, but to see, to understand, and maybe to finally close something that had been open for too long. When I walked into the house that evening, nothing had changed. Same warm lighting, same familiar furniture, same carefully arranged space that always felt more like a performance than a home. But the energy was different. People were already there. Relatives, family friends, all gathered, all talking. And for a moment, everything felt normal. Until I noticed something. Too many eyes turned toward me at the same time. My mother approached first, smiling, warm on the surface, but controlled underneath. "Alyssa," she said, hugging me lightly, not tightly, not emotionally, just enough to show everyone watching that everything was fine. My father nodded from across the room, a firm, distant acknowledgement, and Brianna stood near the table, already watching me, and that look wasn't welcoming. It was waiting. I didn't rush into conversation, didn't try to catch up, didn't fill the silence, because something felt off, subtle, but intentional. The way conversations paused when I entered, the way people glanced at each other, the way Brianna kept smiling, like she knew something I didn't. And that's when I realized this wasn't just dinner. When dinner was announced, everyone moved toward the table. Seats were already arranged, carefully, deliberately, and mine was placed right in the center. Not beside someone familiar, not at the end, but directly in view of everyone, like I was meant to be seen, observed. And that's when the feeling got stronger. This was planned. At first, everything sounded normal. Light conversations, work updates, stories from the week, laughter here and there. But something about it felt rehearsed, like everyone was following a script, waiting for a specific moment to arrive. And I could feel it building, slowly, quietly. Brianna was different that night, more confident than usual, more present, more intentional. She kept glancing at me, not in curiosity, not in concern, but in anticipation, like she was counting down to something, and that kind of attention is hard to ignore. Halfway through dinner, my mother stood up, tapped her glass lightly, and just like that, the room quieted. Instantly. No confusion. No delay. Everyone knew this moment was coming. Except me. "We wanted to do something special tonight," my mother said, her voice warm, controlled, proud. "This family has always believed in celebrating each other." She paused, smiled, then looked directly at me. "And tonight, we wanted to recognize Alyssa." The room turned, all attention, on me. My father reached under the table, pulled out a bag, wrapped neatly, carefully, perfectly, and handed it to me. "This is for you," he said. Simple, direct. But something about it didn't feel like a gift. I held the bag in my hands and immediately noticed something. It was light, too light, and the room was too quiet. No casual conversation, no distraction, just attention, focused, waiting. And that's when I knew. This wasn't about giving me something. This was about watching what I would do next. If you've ever been in a situation where you felt like something was off, but you couldn't prove it yet, you understand this moment. Tell me in the comments, have you ever trusted your instincts, even when no one else saw it? I read every single comment. Now let me show you what happened next, because this is where everything changed. I didn't open the bag immediately, I just held it in my hands, feeling its weight, or more accurately, its lack of weight. And in that moment, everything slowed down. The room, the noise, even my own thoughts, because I knew something they didn't expect me to know. This wasn't a gift. This was a moment they had created and were waiting to enjoy. No one spoke. No one moved. Everyone was watching. Closely. Carefully. The kind of attention that isn't supportive. It's observant. Evaluating. Waiting. And I could feel it. Every single person in that room was focused on what I would do next. Not out of curiosity, but expectation. I opened it slowly. Not dramatically. Not hesitantly. Just calmly. Like it didn't matter. Like I wasn't reacting to the moment they had built. And when I looked inside, it confirmed everything. There was nothing meaningful in it. Something that clearly wasn't meant to matter. A gift that wasn't really a gift. There was a pause. Just a second. A quiet gap between expectation and reaction. And then, Brianna laughed. Not surprised. Not confused. But satisfied. Like this was exactly what she had been waiting for. That actually suits you, she said. Her voice light. Almost playful. But intentional. Very intentional. And just like that, the room shifted. Some people smiled awkwardly. Others looked down. A few avoided eye contact completely. But no one said anything. And that silence felt familiar. The same silence I had grown up with. The same silence that followed every comparison. Every comment. Every moment where I was made smaller. But this time, it felt different. Because I wasn't the same person anymore. They were waiting. I could see it. In my mother's posture. In my father's expression. In Brianna's smile. They expected something. Embarrassment. Defensiveness. A reaction. Any reaction that would confirm their version of me. I didn't smile. I didn't frown. I didn't respond. I just looked at the bag. Then slowly closed it. Placed it back on the table. Calm. Controlled. And that's when something shifted. Not in the room. In them. Because now, they weren't getting what they expected. I picked the bag up again. Not quickly. Not emotionally. Just deliberately. And without saying a word, I reached inside again. For a split second, nothing happened. And then, my fingers touched something else. Folded. Hidden. Something that wasn't meant to be there. And when I pulled it out, everything changed. The document didn't make a loud sound. It didn't need to. Because in that moment, even the smallest movement felt amplified. I placed it on the table, right in the center, where everyone could see it, but no one reached for it, because something had changed. The confidence that filled the room earlier was gone, replaced with hesitation. Brianna was the first to move, not quickly, not confidently like before, but cautiously. "What is that?" she asked. Her tone had changed, slightly, but enough, because this time, she wasn't sure. My mother leaned forward, staring at the document, not picking it up yet, just looking, like she was trying to understand the situation before reacting to it. Because for the first time that night, she didn't control what was happening. I didn't explain it, didn't introduce it, didn't say a single word. I just looked at the document, then at them. That was enough. Because silence forces people to act. And slowly, my father reached for it. He unfolded it carefully, like it might change depending on how he handled it. His eyes moved across the first line, then stopped, then moved again. Slower, more focused. His face didn't change dramatically, but it didn't need to. Because I knew him, and I knew exactly what that look meant. Confusion first, then realization, then something else, something quieter, something heavier. Without saying anything, he handed the document to my mother. No explanation, no comment, just passed it. And that alone told me everything, because he always spoke first, always controlled the narrative, but not this time. My mother took it, looked down, and just like him, she didn't react immediately. Her eyes moved slower, her expression changed, almost invisibly. But I saw it, because I had spent my whole life watching her. Control, confidence, certainty, all of it, starting to slip. "What does it say?" Brianna asked, more sharply now, less confident. She reached forward, took the document, and read it, out loud, without meaning to. "This bag wasn't empty." She stopped. Her voice caught, then continued. "You just never looked deeper." There was more written below. Numbers, details, proof. A breakdown of everything I had built, everything they had ignored, everything they assumed didn't exist. Income, investments, assets, growth, years of it, carefully documented, quietly earned, and suddenly, the gift wasn't meaningless anymore. It never was. The room didn't just go quiet, it shifted. Completely. The same people who had smiled awkwardly just moments ago now weren't smiling at all. Some looked down, some avoided eye contact. Others stared at the table like they were trying to understand what just happened. Because the situation had reversed. Not loudly, not aggressively, but undeniably. And for the first time that night, I wasn't the one being watched with judgment. They were. My mother tried to speak, but the words didn't come out the same way. "This, we didn't know," she said, her tone softer, less certain. And that was new, because she had always been sure of everything, especially about me. But now, she realized she didn't know me at all. Brianna didn't say anything. No sarcasm, no confident remarks, no corrections. She just sat there, looking at the document. Because for the first time, she didn't have a comparison to make. There was nothing left to measure me against, only something she hadn't expected. My father leaned back slowly, still holding part of the document. His expression wasn't anger, it wasn't disappointment. It was something else, something quieter, recognition, not of what I had, but of what he had misunderstood. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't defend myself. I didn't remind them of anything, because I didn't need to. "You thought there was nothing," I said calmly, "but you never really looked at me." No anger, no blame, just truth. And that truth hit harder than anything I could have argued. No one interrupted. No one argued. No one corrected me. Because they couldn't. Every version of me they believed in had just been replaced. And they had nothing ready to replace it with. I stood up slowly, not to make a statement, not to create a scene, just because I was done. Done explaining, done proving, done carrying something that was never mine. And for the first time in that house, I felt completely in control. "I should go," I said. Simple, calm, final. No one stopped me. No one asked me to stay, because the moment had already passed. And as I walked toward the door, I realized something. I wasn't leaving empty. I was leaving clear. What I left behind wasn't anger. It wasn't conflict. It was something heavier. A realization they couldn't undo. That everything they believed about me was incomplete. And that truth doesn't fade easily. Looking back now, I understand something I didn't before. I was never invisible. I was just unseen by people who weren't looking properly. And sometimes, you don't need to prove your worth. You just need to stop placing it in the wrong hands. Because the moment you take it back, everything changes. If this story meant something to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And tell me in the comments, have you ever stayed quiet until the truth revealed itself? I read every single comment. And there's another story waiting for you on your screen. I'll see you there.